Hello and welcome. I'm going to be going through my checklist of requests, and one of them was for the song Blue Moon by Richard Rodgers. And I thought an interesting way to approach this song would be to play it in 3 different techniques, each technique showing how I create rhythm or how I create pulse. So I'm going to be playing the spread voicing technique, the left-hand bass line in a 2-beat, and the right-hand block chord or inversions of block chords or the rootless chords. And I'm going to show you rhythm in each one of these techniques, which is an important thing to understand and try to work towards because it'll make you sound better. You'll enjoy playing music more and people will like the way you play better if you can play with good rhythm. So here we go now with the first version of Blue Moon by Richard Rodgers. Okay, the first technique is the spread voicing technique, which is really the fullest sound because you're spreading it out. But how do you get pulse with that? Well, it's more difficult because you really, but what I do is I try to put a bass note in there. First of all, you have to feel the beat. So I'm feeling it I'm trying to play it rhythmically. Little things like even that creates pulse because it's dictating the time, you know, like da da. Anything you do that dictates the beat, like on the quarter note. That pulse there up here is creating pulse, even if the left hand isn't doing it. Like stride is going to do it better than spread voicing. But even spread voicing now, that's spread voicing. I could do it now on the left hand like this. See, so I'm like using the thumb, or I'm using various things here within the voicing, just creating pulse. Like it could be the bass note, or it could be a harmonic note. Like that, or like that. So that's a little bit of how you can do it with the spread voicing. We'll go on to the next technique. The next technique, rather than spreading out the harmonies like this, I'm playing all of the harmonies in the right hand. The left hand's going to be free to play a bass line. Now this is going to automatically create pulse, particularly if you keep that bass line moving in a nice rhythm. So it's Now this is a 2-beat bass line. That means that it's mostly on 1 and 3, so that there's 2 notes in the measure as opposed to 4. If it's a 4-note bass line, then it has like this. It's like a walking bass line, but this is just a 2-beat. Now usually it has a connecting note, so it goes 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, like that. So I'm going, that's the rhythm now. You want to go to my tutorials about bass lines to understand that better, but you can hear now that the pulse is being created by the 2-beat bass line there, and of course you want to put the 2 hands in sync. The third technique is the block chords in the left hand, and it's the more difficult of the 3, or the most difficult of the 3 to get rhythm with, but you can do it in a variety of ways, like you create pulse like this, or you can just syncopate the left hand like. Now this technique you're going to use mostly with a rhythm section. In other words, you're playing with a bass player and drummer. You're staying out of the bass player's way because he's down here walking the bass or playing in 2 beats and so on. But so this becomes a syncopated syncopated chord against the steady bass line. So like now I'm going to invert the chords like this way. Now I'm using inversion, so now I'm using rootless chords, but to create rhythm I'm creating syncopation in the left hand like this. Of course did it this way, like. In other words, he really set the rhythm like that, and you can do that too, but that's an Aragoner technique. So like in modern jazz, or most jazz pianists playing in trio settings would use inverted chords like that and play them in a syncopated way against the melody, like, you know, against it. So like, you can break it down to 4 variations. In other words, it's on the beat, it's off the beat, it's a long tone, or it's a short tone. So if it's on the beat, that's right on the beat. There's a short on the beat, long on the beat, off the beat, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's short off the beat, and long off the beat would be 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Here we go. here, pulse it. Wrap it up now. I want to wrap up by saying I had a request to play Blue Moon, and I wanted to make it practical by showing you 3 different ways you could play this song in a rhythmic manner or using pulse, which is very important. It's more fun to play that way. People like it more when they hear you play, if you can play with a good rhythm. So you want to go back and watch the details on these particular techniques in past videos I've done. I started in March of 2015. And I have 83 or 84 of them now, so you can watch those in detail to learn any of these techniques. I just wanted this to be an overview and to play the song for you because it was a request. So now, that's it. Please write to me. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If there's questions you have or any concerns or any issues, please write to me and I will answer them. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time around. Bye-bye.